Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I would like to share with you a few things to add to your pre-cruise checklist. Now, whether you are a first-time cruiser or a seasoned cruiser, I hope that you would find these tips useful before you go on your next cruise adventure. Now let's dive right into it. First things first, make sure to verify your travel documents. Now, some of us may use passports, driver's license, birth certificates or so to travel. You want to make sure that they are valid as far as expiration dates. They are valid as far as if anyone got married, did a name change. You want to make sure that your travel documents are aligned with what the cruise company requires to be valid. Another thing to make a note of, depending on what countries you are traveling to, you want to make sure that you have the proper visas to be able to enter that country as well. And it is up to you to be able to make sure that you do the research on what visas that are needed depending on the country that you're cruising to or not. Number 2, hold your mail. So depending on how long your cruise is going to be for, please make sure you put a hold on your mail. With the post office, you can put a request online or go in person. Or if you have a trusty neighbor or a family member that can come by your home and pick up your mail for you, then make sure you go ahead and you have that set in place. Number 3, clean your house. So you want to go ahead, go through the refrigerator, throw out any old food that you may have. Make sure you take out the garbage. Also, you want to make sure that, clean up your room, do any laundry that you may need to get done, water your plants. You want to make sure you go ahead and you unplug anything that may be a fire hazard or so. And as well as you want to go ahead and make sure that you set your AC temperature at an optimal temperature as well, so the house does not have feel stale when you return back from your cruise. Number 4, pay your bills. So now this one may seem a little odd, but it is my opinion to go ahead and make sure that all your bills are paid prior to you leaving for your trip. Okay, the last thing you want to do is be on a cruise, having a good time, and then you get home just to find out that the light was cut off because you missed the payment. So go ahead, sit down prior to your cruise, get all the bills paid for the month, so that way you can relax on your trip and you can come back not scrambling around trying to pay bills. Number 5, download the app for your cruise line. Now, downloading the app, I like to do a couple of months out prior to my cruise. That way I can go ahead and familiarize myself with the app. Through the app, this is where you're going to book your dining reservations. You can make purchases through the app. And while you're on the ship, you're able to book different events and add them onto your calendar. It also kind of gives you a layout of the ship and kind of tells you where things are. But it's good to know to have the app, get familiarized with where things are on the app, and because you will also need it too upon check-in at the port. Number 6, print out your luggage tags. Now, this may seem simple, but printing out your luggage tags, having them ready to go is a good tip. We like to print out our luggage tags as soon as we get the notification to check in. So I will go ahead and I'll print them out and, write our family name on there. And then I also purchased these sleeves from Amazon where I can put the paper tags into them. And that way, if it does rain on the day of your cruise, or when the porters are moving the bags around, that I don't have to worry about this paper getting ripped off by mistake or getting wet and then they're not able to read the name on the luggage tag. But make sure you print out your luggage tags. There are instances where you can print it out at the port, but it's such a hectic day already trying to move around and find out where you're going and everything. But be prepared, print it out ahead of time while you're at home. Number 7, go to the bank. So about a week or so prior to our cruise, we like to go to the bank and just make a withdrawal of some singles, 5s, and 10s. And it's good to have some small bills on hand because they do come in pretty handy when you are tipping the porters at the cruise terminal. When you're over at the bar or so, you can tip $1 or $2, and even to tip your stateroom attendant. The small bills are also useful for when you're going into town and you want to go ahead and buy something at the local shops, depending on the ports that you're visiting. Another thing to keep in mind is you want to notify your credit card company. If you do not already have this feature set on your card, go ahead and notify your credit card company of what your travel plans are, what countries you plan on visiting. So that way, if for whatever reason you're in Barbados and you're trying to make a transaction, that you're not getting a decline because your credit card company thinks it's fraud. Number 8, arrange for transportation. Now, whether you are flying in to your cruise port or you are driving locally, you want to go ahead and arrange for transportation, whether it be Uber or Lyft. Nowadays, you can put in reservations, through these apps for these transportation services. So make sure you have your transportation ready to go. And if you are driving to the port, please keep in mind, that you will be paying for parking as well. So make a note of that, and then also include that in your budget, your parking fees for each day that you will be away on your cruise. Number 9, download any shows or movies that you normally would watch at home while you have the Wi-Fi, but go ahead and download it while you're at home, so that way you can have it on board to use on the cruise ship. So since sometimes we travel with kids with us, so what I like to do is go ahead on Netflix or whether it be on YouTube or whatever, and I would download a couple of their favorite shows. So that way when they are on the cruise ship, the cruise, even though there is televisions in their room, but it's not really necessarily of the show that they would like to watch. But at least if you have the show already downloaded onto your device, then that way they can just go ahead and watch their show. Number 10, check the weather of the country you plan on visiting. So it's nothing like going on a trip or visiting a country expecting sunny weather and you end up having rainy weather. So you want to go ahead and check the weather prior to you leaving, at least get an idea of what to expect, so that way you know what to pack accordingly. Number 11, make sure you have your pets situated. So depending on the type of pet that you may have, you may need a sitter. So in our case, we like to go ahead and I usually call up my veterinarian who also does boarding, and I'll usually let them know, hey, I'm leaving and I need to have, my pet boarded for the next couple of days. So arrangements for, my pet is made, and I know the date I'll be dropping them off, and they know when I'll be picking him back up. And also too, with that said, you want to budget for that as well in your travel plans. So keep that in mind. If you do have a pet sitter, then that's great as well, but make sure you make arrangements for your pets. And if also your pets have any dietary restrictions or needs, make sure that you have that ready as well during your planning phase of your trip, so that way your pet is taken care of while you're away. Number 12, make sure to refill any prescription medications. So it's better to have more medications than to run into a situation and have no medications. So make sure you give enough time, a few weeks or so, for your pharmacy to fill your prescription medications. And another step further, even though it may be cumbersome, please, I would suggest to bring the bottles with the pills in it. Only because once we start taking the pills out of the bottles, it gets confusing. A lot of white pills look the same, but they all have different functions in the body, okay? So you wanna go ahead and make sure to keep the bottles with the medication. Another thing that you can do as well is to also take a picture of the medication alongside the bottle as well. So that way you also have a visual, this is what the pill looks like, and the bottle explains to you what that pill is for, okay? Because you don't want any medication errors or any issues like that. So, and it's better to overpack your prescription medications as I said before, than not having enough. All right, guys, so there you have it. Just a couple of things to add onto your checklist for your next cruise. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have some tips that was not mentioned in this video, please feel free to share down below. And as always, it's always nice to see you guys. Stay well, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.